you're almost not allowed, according to some, to have this particular opinion. And frankly, I don't mind knocking it around. I don't mind knocking it around. Some people won't because, some people think they're tough. They're really not. It's kind of fake and phony. But I don't mind knocking it around. The idea that, boy, you look at this AFC South, and if you just squeeze out a game, you make a play here or there. And I know that's just the NFL in general. It really is. That is just the NFL in general. How many teams could say, hey, if just make a play here? Like Atlanta could say that. Like Atlanta's 1-4 right now. They could say that too, and probably not predicted by many to be 1-4. Maybe so. I don't know. But you could say, hey, a play here or there, and maybe things are different. But you just kind of feel that way. There's so much that seemingly before Thursday night was kind of left on the table. It's somewhat disappointing, isn't it? It's got to be disappointing to you. Because in the month of March, when things are going down, when you start to understand the plans that are being made, and, building through the draft or, not utilizing free agency, which we're all assuming they're going to do hot and heavy, Seinfeld reference, coming up this spring, the spring of 2019. That said, so far, you look around the AFC South, you got Jacksonville losing on the road at Arrowhead yesterday, Tennessee going to Buffalo and losing. Houston winning, but I think we've seen Houston's act. I'm trying to think what is the theme of the first 5 weeks of the NFL season, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about the Colts in general. What is the theme? Bad kicking, missed field goals, ties, roughing rules, how that's been handled. Yeah, I did, and I would agree with everybody. Yesterday, I thought the Michael Bennett thing was ridiculous. I know most don't like Michael Bennett, but that was absurd. And it seems like that maybe that aspect, other than that huge play yesterday, kind of backed away just a little bit. What is the theme so far? Non-Colts related. It can be if you want, but non-Colts related. What is the overall theme? Patrick Mahomes? Unbeaten start for the Chiefs. Unbeaten start for the Rams. A little survival. There was another guy yesterday that went for it on fourth down. You guys wanted some stones, and some of these coaches are showing you stones. Here's what's funny about it. The ones that are showing you stones seemingly have the wiggle room to show you stones, and the one that didn't last night probably doesn't feel as if he has the wiggle room to show stones, and then after the game had his owner and general manager basically call him out, for lack of a better description, about how he should have had some stones. That's kind of where we are in the coaching category. Sean McVay can go for it. Sean McVay's the golden boy right now, right? He can go for it. Mike Vrabel last week, Vrabel could go for it. Frank Reich can go for it. And everybody most people are behind it. Not everybody, but most people are behind it. Now, Jason Garrett, on the other hand, and he's probably never been too much of a go-for-it guy. I'm not deeply wound into the inner workings of the Cowboys, and frankly, I don't care other than the entertainment value of last night. But he never has really appeared to me like he is a type of hey, we're going to go ahead and go all in right now. He seems more like a punt on 4th and 1 in overtime type of guy. But he doesn't necessarily, right? And then you end up losing anyway, right? You punt it away and then you end up losing. Like the Colts didn't punt away and they end up losing. Sean McVay went for it in Seattle. That was a big moment for the Seahawks too when you think about it. That was the difference. That was the difference in having a win at home over your division rival, one of the best teams in the NFL, and only being a game down and playing some disappointing football to this point, really. Losing players, disappointing football, getting Baldwin back, but still trying to find a way, not being able to protect Russell Wilson. So what? There's a theme. Coaches and fourth down decisions. I can't remember a time. Anybody else? Anybody else remember a time when we so concentrated on and so were willing to say, hey, just roll with it. Roll with that fourth down decision. I mean, hell, one of these days, everybody's going to say, you got to go for two. Tom Allen went for two on Saturday, and I thought at the time, I don't know why he's going for two right here, but the Big Stones crew probably dug that he went for two there. But he did, and it wouldn't have mattered. I mean, they had some momentum. I don't think there was any doubt about it. And then that was immediately squashed when they snuffed it out and Ohio State started to go the other direction. I don't know who the offensive tackle of IU was that made a great tackle. I think he injured himself on the play. I mean, IU just kind of at Ohio State did show what IU normally does. Yeah, you know what they do? They can make plays offensively. And you can pick on Ohio State's DBs. You know, that was true in the first game of the season a year ago, if you remember. And then all of a sudden, those DBs at Ohio State a year ago grew up, and they were being drafted like in the first round, weren't they? Come late March, early April. I mean, that first game of the season last year, I mean, you're throwing at them, going to, and that's what IU did on Saturday. I mean, just consistently or trying to consistently go at that Sheffield in particular. Didn't work out because IU couldn't stop them, and Ohio State gets a win. Here's the Connecticut Water question of the day. And a lot of you Fighting Irish fans out there can rejoice because I got one for you. I said this 3 weeks ago, I think, prior to, let's say, 2 weeks ago, prior to the Stanford tilt. I said that if Notre Dame beat Stanford, that they would run the table. And maybe to many, and even though this team, Vatek lost on the road to Old Dominion. So a lot of people looked at it as, well, this still should be I shouldn't say an easy game, but it shouldn't be that difficult. And as it turned out on Saturday, it wasn't. Can the Fighting Irish run the table here on out? Will they run the table here on out? That is your Connecticut Water question of the day. Will they run the table rest of the regular season? And then we'll see what happens. So you had college, you had Major League Baseball we'll get into in just a little bit. I was kind of digging a little bit on the Braves and the Dodgers last night. I mean, listen, for Cubs fans, you got to be incredibly depressed, right? So you get it done to you in your own place by the Rockies, and they can't. Well, they scored 2 runs in 3 games in that series. They are terrible. And then there's nothing more depressing, especially around here when it's like 85, 87 degrees. Nothing more depressing than turning it on and seeing in Colorado or in Denver it being like 40 degrees, and everybody's got these hoodies over their head, got gloves on, overcoats, everybody in the stands looking miserable. Little snow falling. But yeah, Cubs fans, I mean, you get done in your own place by a team that was just awful offensively. And the Brewers had a lot to do with that. The Brewers pitching is pretty damn good. Like my pick back in April was the Dodgers and the Indians, and we'll get a check on Game 3 between the Astros and the Indians coming up in just a second. But my pick was the Indians representing the AL and the Dodgers in the NL. The Dodgers still may get there. Up 2-1, best of 5 NLDS. And they got Game 4 coming up later on tonight. The Braves getting their first win. However, the Indians, the Astros look pretty damn good. The AL side of things looks incredible. The Yankees going yard. Gary Sanchez hit a ball that's still going. And hell, he's not even really the one they talk about. I mean, everybody was talking about Stanton and everybody's talking about Judge. And then I talked last week about Voit, doesn't wear an undershirt, got his blonde chest hair sticking out, takes a swing, puts his finger up like he's number 1, it stays in the park. We're talking about him. And then Sanchez, Sanchez hit one to New Hampshire the other night. So you got that low Major League Baseball. This time of year is awesome. It really is. And then the Pacers, by the way, too. Everybody's I know, and I'm kind of still floating out there with Miles Turner. We were talking about this, Tony and David Deering and I, before the start of the show. I'm still floating out there with Miles Turner. And listen, I'm not making a lot of this because I think you guys know with my past, there is nobody that is probably that enjoys and has enjoyed more of Domas Sabonis over his entire career than me, because of my kids' love affair with Gonzaga. But Domas Sabonis, I think to a person around here, people think Sabonis is going to be as improved a player as you're going to find around. Big man wise, Tony, you shaking your head? Yeah. Is that the expectations all of a sudden, they're going on his shoulders because, you're 2 games, you're 2 stinking games in right down the preseason, which is unfair to look at that and make that particular distinction. But I'm just telling you, the Pacer fans that I notice think that Sabonis is going to give them a tremendous year. And then here's the angle that I get, right? You ready? The angle that I get is, oh, that's really going to hurt your guy Turner. Why would it hurt my guy Turner? Why can't they both be good? Is it not possible? Is it not? Is it going to be one or the other?
Is it because they're fighting for possibly the same minutes? We haven't seen so many sets.
I thought Nate said he's going to play them together. Play them together, Nate. My God, play them together. Man, I don't want to eat a big crap burger like all you anti-luck folks out there. Still trying to make it his fault. Still trying to make the season so far at 1-4 the fault of luck. That's great too.